What's up, y'all? It's your favorite coach, and today we're talking about bad habits. That's right, bad habits. It's time to break free of those bad habits that's been holding you back. So I'm gonna start just like, listen, chains of habits are too light to be felt until they're too heavy to be broken. Warren Buffett said that best. No. Listen to me. Chains of habits are too light to be felt until they're too heavy to be broken. No. So the thing that's been holding you back, the thing that's been killing you inside, the reason why you don't have the abundant success, the power, the authority, that relationship, that career, right? The bank account that you really desire deep down in your heart is because you've been holding yourself back. You've been holding these heavy chains on you. That's called bad habits. That's the reason why you can't get to where you're supposed to be at in life, because you won't decide to change. So let's stop pretending. Let's stop pretending right now. Let's be real. You need to change. You need to change, because those habits that you aren't proud of, deep down inside, you know they're killing your dreams and your life. The overeating, right? The overthinking, the emotional drinking, the anger, the self-sabotage, the self-defensiveness, right? That compulsion spending habit that you have. Yeah, let's call them out. Let's talk about them. That are the reasons why you aren't where you're supposed to be at in life. I know the feeling. I was there. I lived the life. I lived the blame game. I lived the victimhood. I lived the self-sabotage. I lived the bad habits of pointing and blaming others for my demise. I used to be at a point in my life where I would just do nothing but compare myself to others, questioning and wondering and overthinking and overanalyzing and becoming anxious about it or becoming obsessive about it. Why am I cursed and they're blessed? I used to tell myself that, and got to a point to where I just started self-sabotaging my life in order to feel justified. It took away my confidence. It took away my blessing, my attitude, my courage. It took away all that from me because I was using it as an escape mechanism. I was using it as an escape mechanism. I'm scapegoating my own life. That's why I was running from the pain, from the truth. It's from the truth. I lived that. And I'm telling you, I dug myself 10 holes, 10 feet deep, and I threw 10 chains on and tried to jump in them. I tried to end my life because I was in comparison mode to other people, blaming myself for my father's death, blaming myself for my albinism, my disabilities, my environment that I grew up in that was the reason why I couldn't get ahead in life. I did that to myself. I lived with those heavy chains on, but what changed in me is when I decided to change. What changed in me is I got sick and tired and I started wanting to do something about it. You can't just walk around this life living with heavy chains on and thinking that you're going to get ahead. And the reason why you're not winning in life, the reason why you're not succeeding in life is because you run around with these heavy chains on, not addressing the truth behind the bad habits. Bad habits are nothing more than smoke and mirrors for traumas and suppressed responses we have in life. Like anger is always a secondary emotion, bad habits is always a secondary feeling, always a secondary action, always a secondary behavior that's covering up something that's deep down inside. That's covering up something that you're not dealing with. No. Hear me. Listen to this. The reason why you going into that place of business and doing those compulsion spending habits, right? You going and buying a new TV. You're going and just splurging, taking those unnecessary trips when you know that you don't got that money. And now you got to work extra hard at your job that you already don't like. The only reason why you making those spending, the reason why you're doing that spending, the reason why you're making those decisions is because you don't really like where you're at in life. And so what we tend to do as humans, because it's human nature, it's a human cycle, what we tend to do is we try to make ourselves feel good. We try to give ourselves a reward. We try to give ourselves an outlet, right? We try to put on a front to not address what's really going on deep down inside. I want you to hear this. I want you to get this in your spirit, get this in your soul, get this in your mind, get this in your heart. When you have these bad habits, it's only because you didn't do 3 simple steps. You didn't make yourself aware. That's step number 1. Make yourself aware of these bad habits. The reason why that you use the late night snacking is because you're procrastinating. What are you procrastinating about? You know you got priorities, but you don't want to handle them because you procrastinating. So what do? You start overeating. You got a bad day, so what do? You go to sleep instead of handling your business, instead of doing what you need to do in order for you to get up out that spot that you in the first place. You put them heavy chains on. But I got great news for you. You can get them off of you as long as you make yourself aware, consciously aware, consciously aware. Call them out. Call out that bad habit that you want to break. Call it out. Identify it. Name it. And then tell it you're going to break it. That's how you become consciously aware of your bad habits. For me, I know it was the anger. It was anger. It was resentment. It was overthinking. It was self-analyzing. It was obsessive thinking. It was self-sabotage. They were escape mechanisms from my trauma. The weed, the drinking, the partying, being around people and places that I had no business being around was all because I refused to address that hurt and that pain that I was dealing with from a young child. It was all there because of that. So now, 20 years later, I've developed these bad habits that I had to go back and I had to break them. I had to destroy them in order for me to get to where I'm at now. You understand what I'm saying? Like, listen to me. That you that you at now, it can't be the you that you want to be. It can't run that six-figure multiple businesses. It can't do that. No. It can't be the leader that's going to create the generations and the generations of leaders that follow behind you. It can't be that person that leads your family from prosperity to prosperity. It can't be that person that's going to take his career to the next level and walk in abundance and authority and power and reach successes. It can't be that. The me at 23 couldn't stand before you here. The me at 32 couldn't dominate the way I dominate at 34. It couldn't be that person. I had to change. I had to address these bad habits that were deep down inside of me. I had to address them. I had to identify them. And once I identified them, I broke free. You understand what I'm saying? Step 2 is identify your cues and your triggers. Identify them, and you can break free. It's that simple. It's simple. It ain't easy, but it's simple. And I'm going to tell you why. It's just like you have a chain. Think about a chain. Chains are all connected by links. And these links, when you pull on them, they create tension until the chain eventually breaks. The same is said for bad habits. When you start pulling on the cues and identifying the triggers, you can start to break the links. You can start to break the links of the bad habits. You can start to break the links that hold you back in life. You can start to break the links that are keeping you tied down in this bad situation, the bad jobs, the countless spending, the bad financial decisions, the bad relationships that can keep you tied down. But when you start doing this, breaking those cues, identifying the cues, there's always a cue that is a signal that kicks off a trigger. And in your mind, when you hit that trigger, your mind is going to then automatically give it a response, a reward that's going to stop that cycle. So your cue is, for example, when you got some pain deep down inside and you can't sleep at night, your mind triggers an escape mechanism. Maybe it's you going to get that drink. Maybe it's you going to get that late night snack. Maybe it's you starting to watch something that you ain't got no business watching, right? Something to escape that pain. That's the reward. So when you go and take these ridiculous trips, when you go and you spend this money that you don't have, that you just made, now you got to work harder, right? You put yourself in a bad position to then overcome what you shouldn't have been doing in the first place. Making sense to somebody? I know I'm talking to you. When you sit there and you spend that money to make yourself feel good deep down inside, you're really just running from the pain and the trauma that you aren't addressing. You're just running from the past hurts that's been in your life for years that it's time for you to address. And when you start to address them, when you get up out yourself and you start to do the work, because you must do the work. You gotta do the work. You gotta identify what's the cues and the triggers that's creating these habits that's holding you back. Listen to me. Change will happen when you decide to change. And the moment you decide to change and you become conscious about your decisions, you become decision making, purpose driven, focused on breaking your habits. You start to remove all the negatives in your life and you will only be left with the positives. You will only be left with the good habits. Remove the bad and be left with the good. And that, my friends, is how you will break free and you will grow and you will go to the next level and you will rise in your life, careers, relationships, goals. That's how you get there. So do yourself a favor and do yourself this favor. Track these bad habits. Identify the cues and the triggers that creates these responses. Write it down. Make yourself consciously aware. Write them down. The what's, the how's, the why's, and here's why. Because once you understand the reason behind the habit, you give yourself power over that habit. When I understand that I was only living in self-sabotaging mode because I didn't deal with the traumas and the pains and the resentments tied to my father's death. Once I understood that's what the reason, those were the connecting links together that created these bad habits, I was able to address them, identify them, and interrupt them. And I was able to replace those feelings with the positive feelings that were left, the good memories, the inspirational memories, the motivational memories, the life lessons. And now I was able to step into where I was my purpose. I was able to step into my prosperity from promiscuity. I was able to step into my power, walk in abundance, walk in authority, walk in power. And if I can do it, you can do it. All you got to do is make a decision. Make a decision about your decisions and be consciously aware about the bad habits that you are now about to break. Stop telling yourself that bull that you were going to do it. One day I'll change. One day I'll make the adjustments. Soon, someday I'll do this. No, make the commitment to tell yourself, I am changing. I must change. I have changed. Give yourself the power now. I want you to act in the positive now. I want you to deal in the positive, walk in the positive now. No more excuses, no more alternatives, no more procrastinating. Stop waiting and waiting and waiting to save yourself. Do something about it now. Because look, once you know, now you can grow. Let's go be strong together.